There are so many different ways to do a risotto. Making a traditional risotto requires quite a lot of babysitting, and I'm going to be doing two of them today. One's going to be on the stovetop, a very traditional, labor-intensive way, but I do have a really great hack which cuts down the cooking time and pretty much allows you to just press one button and go and make a cup of tea. Now I have the same ingredients I'm going to be using for both versions, and I have to say guys, I was a little skeptical about just how well a risotto could turn out in a rice cooker, but wait till you see what happens. It's so cool. All right, I'm gonna be using the Panasonic 8-cup rice cooker for this one. Also comes in a 10-cup, but I love this guy. It does so much more than just rice. There's soups, congee, but today we're gonna do the most delicious mushroom risotto. This is literally a dump and run situation. So I'm gonna go in with my rice, garlic, onion, butter. I know, all the Italians are like, you're crazy.
Oh, wait. Stop this. Stop the video now.
I'm gonna get in trouble again, aren't I? But this is just such a convenient way. And look, I do love, standing around with a nice glass of wine and stirring and making a beautiful risotto. It sounds very romantic and amazing, but I have 2 children and I get home from work and I kind of need things to hurry up a bit. It's not usually that leisurely after work. That is some beautiful thyme leaves. I soaked my dried shiitake mushrooms in some chicken stock so they're rehydrated. This is a really good cheat, guys, because fresh shiitake mushrooms are quite expensive, but the dried shiitake mushrooms you get from your Asian store, now they are not so expensive and you can keep them in your pantry as long as you want. So the extra chicken stock is soaked in there, so they've got some extra flavor. And I really do think the actual dried shiitake has an extra element of umami savoriness that really benefits any dish that you're using it in. It's definitely a little secret weapon kind of ingredient. In we go. I've got a little mixture of mushrooms here. Some Swiss brown mushrooms or button mushrooms, some enoki here as well. Okay, mushrooms go in. A little bit of salt, some pepper, and now the chicken stock. Just give this a little bit of a stir. Oh, I love the smell of the thyme and the garlic, so nice. I think that took about 2 minutes. And we just need to press this one button here, just one. Done. So the cool thing about the technology in these Panasonic rice cookers is it has what's called fuzzy logic. What it does is actually changes the temperature as the rice cooks so that it cooks perfectly every time. I mean, there's just so much tech in these rice cookers. You have no idea. That's why you need to try it out for yourself. Okay, now the rest of these ingredients, my peas, parmesan, a little bit of extra butter, and some spinach. That's going to go in later. But let's get going on my stovetop version. All right, so we're gonna start off by sauteing our garlic and the onions, some salt here. I wanna wait for these onions to really kind of soften down a little bit. I think this is already taking longer than it took to put the ingredients in here, just the onion part. Okay, I'm gonna add my rice in here. Let's talk about rice for a minute because I am using a special risotto rice called Carnaroli. It has a really beautiful creamy kind of texture but still holds those rice grains kind of firm. So with the risotto you do want that creaminess but you don't want the rice grains to turn to mush. So I like to seek out a Carnaroli style of risotto rice, but probably the more common one you'll find in your supermarket is called Arborio. Totally fine to use that one as well. I'm going to add in my shiitake mushrooms, some of my other beautiful mushrooms here. And now conventional or traditional wisdom says we add our stock just a little at a time. Give that a stir and just wait for those rice grains to soak up some of that liquid. I feel like my rice cooker is over here just laughing, going, ha ha ha, look at all the stuff you have to do. That would be silly because rice cookers cannot talk. Yet. Okay, a bit more here. And it's just kind of like more of this. You just have to keep stirring, waiting, adding, stirring, waiting, adding. There you go, up here. Okay, good job. So we're making one here and then we're making one in the rice cooker. You're gonna see which one takes longer.
This one's probably taking longer.
It's already taking longer, I know, because you've been waiting, haven't you?
I've been waiting
You've been waiting, have you?
to go home.
Oh, you've been waiting to go home? I thought you were waiting for risotto. Keep going. Gosh, it really is taking a while, isn't it? Should I make a cup of tea? I
Yeah.
haven't had a cup of tea yet.
Make a cup of tea.
Okay. As long as you're keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, don't let it burn. All right, so I had Charlie helping for a bit. I'm just still going here, a bit more stock. I think the thing with the risotto is that, you know, when you're making it traditionally, you can't just let it sit and just bubble because it burns on the bottom. You know, you really need this kind of movement around. You need to be watching it, adding the stock at the right time. So I guess that's where the kind of like work comes into it, if you like. I do think rice cookers are like one of the most underrated utensils in the kitchen. I guess as like growing up as an Asian child, you know, my mum's Thai, we used a rice cooker daily, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like one of those essential kitchen appliances, but I've loved doing my Panasonic testing in these different rice cookers. I mean, I think, what was the coolest thing I made? I made like an entire yum cha spread in my Panasonic rice cooker, which is so cool. I do love that, you know, technology like this can give you some little shortcuts and some little hacks that are very convenient for an everyday kind of dish. Oh, there we go. Let's see what's happened to our little magic machine. Ooh, look at that. Ah, smells so good. Now, there's just a little bit of final zhuzhing to do here. So what I want to do is just add in some spinach. It's really not very traditional either, these additions, but you know, on a weeknight, I like to add some extra greens. So this is just my way of making things a little bit more virtuous on a Wednesday night. Some cheese, some lemon zest. Mix that through. Wow, look at that. It's so glossy and shiny, and like for something that I just didn't even have to watch or mind at all. I mean, this is really good. Now, it also has a keep warm function, so I can just close that down and just keep that warm while I finish my other risotto. Keep warm, right here. That's a very handy function. So let's go back to the risotto that's been taking up all of my attention. So finally, starting to look good. Spinach goes in here as well. Peas, butter, cheese. Okay, let's compare. Oh wait, no, lemon zest. To give them both an equal chance here. Okay, so time to compare. And I think this is where things get really interesting, right? Because a lot of videos will show you the rice cooker hack or the oven hack or, you know, something like that, but they don't show you the comparison with the original. So I'm going to start off here with my stovetop version, which looks perfectly luscious and delicious. Get that, it's nice and shiny and creamy. And then let's have a look at our rice cooker version. Do you know that squelching rice sound? I love that, so good. I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil here and some Parmesan. Okay, so I mean, they look pretty comparable to me. If I was going to be really, really nitpicky, I would say this one has a little bit more of that like shiny starchiness, and that comes from kind of stirring and that labor intensive kind of movement. But I mean, you really can't tell the difference that much at all. Now the really fun part. Get in here. Smells good. Wow. I mean, if you had told me that that was cooked traditionally on the stovetop, I would have totally believed you. The texture is beautiful, it's creamy, it's delicious, it has all the things that a good risotto should have. It's so good. Let me try the pan version as well. If you were like a risotto purist, you would love that the rice grain is just slightly more intact with this one. But I mean, for the amount of convenience that this gives you, wow. Honestly, I was so shocked when I tested this recipe. If you're gonna try one rice cooker hack, it really has to be this one. That's just so good. Yum. Charlie. There you are. Did you want to surprise everyone?
No. No.
Do you want to try the risotto? Okay, you try this one. Is that good? It's good, isn't it?
That's yum.
Good girl.